And you told me that you were about to get married when you were 10-year-old.
Overhearing my father saying at the time, she's not a cow that I can just, give her to you or, like just commit her to you. She's only 10. I'm sorry, I cannot talk about her marriage. And it was easy for me because it was 15-20 minutes walk from the house. So I used to just walk to work and come back.
I know you drive a Rolls Royce.
That
to
was
your
one
work.
of my dreams. I researched garments, I researched kitchen utensils, I researched many products. But I realized that...
You told me that somebody stole your idea. I hope this inspires lots of viewers who are starting up from single laptop, mother of two, on a wheelchair, handling the kids, handling the husband, and still making 10 million turnover. This is what inspires. Welcome to another episode of Rollover Show. Today our guest is a CEO of the biggest company in Scotland, export company in Scotland. She started her journey as a housewife in her bedroom with her single laptop. She's a mother of two, and today she owns the biggest export company in Scotland. She used to walk for 15 minutes to work to her workplace. Now she drives a Rolls Royce. Her journey is nothing less than inspiring. Before we begin this podcast, please subscribe and like our channel, because you're only 70% people, only 30% people actually subscribe or like our channel. There are a lot of viewers, but not many people subscribe or like our channel. If you like or subscribe our channel, that will give us more, that will make us get more influential guests in our show. So please do that. And let's begin our podcast. Our guest today is OBE Poonam Gupta. Thank you so much for taking your time out and coming here. I know you're super busy, and it's an honor, and it's my good fortune to have you in this podcast today. Your phone is ringing. That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you, Captain Gupta, for having me here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I must have put it on. It's fine. Okay. You can just. I can turn it to silent.
Cam, can you bring it here and put it off?
I think you need to start again.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
You'll just edit it out, would you?
No.
Yeah, so the intro is fine. The intro is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. I'll just... Where is it? It's fine. I'll get it later.
Okay. But let's start again.
Okay.
So thank you for your time to come here. I know you're super busy. Handling such a big business is not easy. I handle business as well, but every second counts. Every second counts. You don't have time for your life, to be honest, as a CEO. And you handling 2 kids and a husband and a business, that is major challenge. That's a big challenge. How do you do this? What time do you wake up?
Generally early. Most days I wake up early.
What time?
I don't know. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5.
4 o'clock?
Sometimes 6. Most people who know me, they often joke that, do you ever even sleep?
Do you?
I do. Everybody needs sleep.
How many hours do you sleep a day?
Well, it depends on the schedule and which countries are on my priority at that time. But I have an ability to work for a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks with very less hours of sleep, and
3
then
hours,
one
4
day
hours, 3 hours, 4 hours.
Can do that, yeah. And then one day I will maybe go to bed early and then have my 12 hours sleep.
That's shocking. And tell me about your journey. You my my biggest contention with CEOs and big businessmen is that lots of them are born with a silver spoon. I personally was not born with a silver spoon. जूता घिस के आया हूँ मैं. So I hate people who are second generation and who are born with silver spoon. I always look down upon them. But when I talk to you, you prove me wrong. You prove me wrong. Because you were born with a silver spoon, but you carried the legacy forward and made it bigger. And that is a big thing, you know. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your dad. Tell me about your family.
Okay. So I'm born and brought up in India, like yourself. And I came from a nice I can't say that I came from a poor family. I came from a very privileged background. I am one of 4 siblings. So I've got 3 younger brothers.
Actually, that puts a lot of pressure on you to take the legacy forward, I guess.
No, it doesn't actually.
No?
I had no pressure to take any legacy forward because, you know, being a girl born in particular community that I'm from, which is the Gupta community, the focus always used to be, at least the community focus, I guess. My father was not the same, but the community focus was get your girls educated, get them married to rich men and let them have a good life. And teach them to become good wives and cook good food and look after their families. So I guess, you know, being one girl and having 3 younger brothers, I had no pressure to take any legacy forward. The only pressure was to be a good girl, obedient.
A good housewife.
Good obedient girl to my parents. And then get married and be a good obedient wife or daughter-in-law. Good. So
that was the training done.
Well, that was kind of taken for granted, understood, underlying understanding.
And you told me that you were about to get married when you were 10-year-old.
No, not about to get married. But what happened was I remember there was some family, extended family, not even extended family, known people. And they came to my father and they were like, my father was a well-known businessman in his time. So was my grandfather and so was my great-grandfather. But they came to my father and I remember loosely overhearing the conversation where the lady was telling my father that, you know, if he would like to just say yes for her boy, for me, and then whenever we are ready to marry, kind of, you can say, complicated, but you know, they said that maybe when they're ready, then we can get them married. And I remember overhearing my father saying at the time, she's not a cow that I can just, you know, give her to you or, you know, like just commit her to you. She's only 10. I'm sorry, I cannot talk about her marriage. So going back to the legacy point of your second generation, there was no pressure, I guess. But what I used to observe, I think there was a lot of in my life that I learned from observation. So what I observed was that all the girls around me were looking for their Prince Charming. And they wanted to get married. No, not really. I was a tomboy growing up. I was not looking for any Prince Charming. So, but I think, you know, I used to see this stereotype in the society, which I'm sure you know as well, where I felt no matter how hard the women worked, like we used to have big families, joint families, 15, 16 people in the house. My mother, I remember growing up, was always in the kitchen or teaching my other brothers, sisters. And no matter how hard they worked, there was somehow, even today that's an issue, there was no acknowledgement of their work. It's like as if their work didn't count for work. And that's why there was certain lack of respect for who they were. And I was always a very keen reader. So I was always keen to see what my father is doing, how he's doing it.
Do you read a lot of books?
I used to read a lot of books. Now I read a lot of articles and books in my time when I'm traveling and things. But so I noticed this stereotype about...
Bill Gates reads at least 1 hour and Warren Buffett reads at least 5 hours.
Yeah.
every day. So this is
This
the,
is my goal in life.
this is
to
the
be
DNA,
able to do that
This
again.
is the DNA of any CEO. They read a lot.
I read a lot. I was always a keen reader.
Or podcast.
Yeah. and then I realized, and then I used to hear these, and I've witnessed these stories where women lost their husbands, and then they were kind of at the mercy of their in-laws, who would then provide for them, or the brother-in-law who'd provide for her children. And they were often not in a good place after they lost their husbands. So my father used to say that a girl should be educated enough that if anything bad was to happen, then she can, look after herself and her family.
Okay.
And my counter used to be, why something bad needs to happen for a girl to be able to take a role, leadership role, you can call it.
There you go, viewers. Tip number 1. You don't have to wait for bad things to happen. You need to inspire and act now. Don't wait for bad things to happen.
Yeah. So I used to say that to my father, that why do we have to wait? Why can't a girl be educated and be financially independent?
Okay.
So that was, so you can say that even though I came from a privileged family, there were certain, in my opinion, there were certain drawbacks of that for me. One, the pressure to get married was huge. Only daughter of a successful businessman. When are you getting her married? The whole focus after finishing education was only on the marriage. There was no pressure to work, but I wanted to work because I wanted to be financially independent. I didn't want to be that woman. Maybe there was a fear in me that I didn't want to be that woman who then have to fend for herself when something bad happened. I wanted to be a woman who can be more than just a housewife, who can be more than just a good chapati maker, who can be more than just a nice mother.
Are you a good chapati maker?
No. My daughter is a better chapati maker. No, I'm not a good chapati maker. I can make them though.
So that thinking in your head was always ticking in your head.
I think it was always like adding to my learnings through observations. And I guess coming to this country gave me that opportunity. One of the first thing I noticed, or I was told when I was, getting married to my husband, who was born and brought up here, he told me everybody works here. Yes, Poonam Gupta. He told me everybody works here. So I thought, this is my golden ticket. I can work. And I don't have to face the social prejudice of, why does she work? Does she need money?
What year did you get married?
2002.
2002. So you came here in 2003 in Greenock.
No, I came here in 2002.
In
Greenock, yes.
Greenock.
Yeah.
And a whole day you were doing nothing and trying to research things on laptop.
Actually, I came over here, and within a week of my coming here, I had to go back to India because I lost my mother very suddenly. And
that's the worst feeling you can ever have.
I don't think that one can ever reconcile with a sudden loss like that.
Yeah.
It stays with you forever.
I've lost my mother.
Yeah, so, and it changes you as a person.
Yeah.
So
it's a very bad feeling. I can totally connect with you in that case. So yeah, you went back.
I went back for a month, and then when I came back, I was not in a very good place, as you can imagine. I was mourning her loss. I was lost. So I realized that, I need to get myself out of this black hole that I was in. And I started looking for jobs.
Okay.
So I have a double degree. I'm an economics graduate from one of the top colleges in India.
Wow.
We call them Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi.
Okay.
I was a topper in my school as well.
I think Shah Rukh Khan was in that college.
I don't know where Shah Rukh Khan was.
Yeah.
I am from there.
Yeah.
So then I did my MBA.
There are a lot of celebrities come out from that college.
It's a very good college.
Yeah.
It's one of the top colleges in India.
Yeah.
And then I finished my degree. I did my MBA. And
where did you do your MBA from? Sri Ram?
I did my MBA from Ford School of Management in Delhi. I wanted to study abroad, but those were different times. People were not very keen to send their girls abroad to study. When I was growing up, everybody used to say, oh, she'll go to Harvard or she'll go to Oxford or Cambridge. And I was totally cut out for that. I think if I was given a chance, I would have made it. And it was my dream to study in one of these universities, but things changed, circumstances changed. I had to do my MBA, still did it, my MBA in India. And then when I went back, I came over, but I couldn't find a job here despite my double degree.
Okay.
And I was desperate
In
to work.
India, you couldn't find a job.
I couldn't find a job here.
Okay.
When I
here.
came back.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to get out of the house, meet people, to get out of that phase
You
I
had
was
this-
going through,
yeah,
constantly
okay.
thinking and disappearing, I'd say. So then at that time, an opportunity rose with our local chartered accountancy firm. So I took the job and I worked there 2 months voluntarily without pay.
You worked voluntarily 2
Without
months
pay.
in Greenock.
In Greenock with this chartered accountants. I do think, though, that was one of the best things that happened to me. And I say...
I need to tell my secretaries they need to volunteer.
Yeah, but I did it because I think I just wanted to do something. And it was easy for me because it was 15-20 minutes walk from the house. So I used to just walk to work and come back.
I know you drive a Rolls Royce.
That
to
was
your
one
work.
of my dreams, to own one. And I'm
Cullinan.
glad I have...
You have a Cullinan.
Yes, I do. I
Well
like
done.
cars.
Well done. You like cars?
Yes.
I'll show you my latest one, Lotus Electra. But anyway, that is a different topic. So you worked voluntarily in that business. Then how did you crack your first deal? How did you start your business?
So when I finished my 2 months of work there, I didn't get a job offer from them either. But I learned a lot. I was working in the tax department. So from the conversations, I learned about various organizations here, like Business Gateway, Scottish Enterprise, HMRC, VAT. So I learned those basic terms, which kind of helped me understand how must or might the business world work here. So I then started thinking that, okay, I've tried for a job many times, I'm not getting one. And I thought maybe with my connections with India, I can start something of my own. So I started researching many products. I researched solder wire because my father used to make it in his factory at that time.
Okay.
I researched garments. I researched kitchen utensils. I researched many products. But I realized that...
You told me that somebody stole your idea.
Yeah, somebody did.
Tell me about that.
So I was making connections, and these were like really ahead of time designs. One of the friends in India was manufacturing them. And I went to this company in Scotland. I don't even remember. I know their name, but I'd rather not say it. And I had the meeting with the boss there, and he really liked my ideas. And he said, come in a couple of weeks' time, 2-3 weeks' time, and I'll give you a nice order. So I thought suddenly I had that hope that, I might succeed with this product.
What was his product?
So then I kept asking, they were like kitchen utensils made of stainless steel. So, but very nice designs and very different designs than what existed at that time here.
And that guy, he listened to your idea and he stole
No,
your
he
idea.
took my catalog basically and promised me an order. And then I went back and I kept calling him to give me the next appointment because he said meet me in a couple of weeks. And then he met me after 6 weeks or 7 weeks, something like that, long time. And I remember walking into his warehouses and I was talking to his manager at the time and I said, what happened? I thought we had a meeting and he's going to give me an order. He said they have their own manufacturing in another country. He said, look at your designs, ma'am, they're all here. They've got it manufactured from somebody
My
else.
God.
So I felt really bad and I left. I don't
My
think
God.
I even attended the meeting. Then that was like one of the many knockbacks.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, you can say that. And then I started thinking, everybody is thinking about importing here. Like, most of our community, Indian, Pakistani, we all import and sell here.
Yeah.
So I thought this is what everybody is doing. And I thought, okay, why don't I look at it in reverse? Is there something that I can export from here? And at that time, waste paper was a big thing. People were talking about how do we recycle more, how do we meet the targets. The articles were everywhere, and I was reading them. And then I thought, is there something to be explored in this industry? And that's where my research started in the paper industry. 10 months of hard work research, a lot of data collection. I joined a lot of short-term courses to bridge my knowledge gap. And my first deal came through after 10 months of hard work from a company in Italy who agreed to sell me 2 of their paper containers, which were going to go to landfill, on the basis that I will not sell them in Europe. So I sold them to India, and that was my first deal.
Wow.
And that's how my company was born.
Wow. Lots of hard work.
Businesses, when you're starting, any startup is a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And it is a lot of hard work.
Yes.
It was not like I got my first deal and that's the hard work over. That's actually the beginning of more hard work.
For entrepreneurs who are starting up, the first thing they need to think about is a disruptive product, like you thought. You thought reverse. Nobody was thinking of exporting. Everybody was importing, and you thought reverse. That was disruptive. So, number one thing is to get a disruptive product. Is that right?
Disruptive product or disruptive service. So, I often say, you don't need to don't put so much pressure on yourself. I need to find something new product. We've been the world is moving faster than ever before, or, very complicated ideas. If you look at success, some of the most simple ideas are very, very successfsul. Or, something done well. It's not like electric cars have existed for years.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the success behind, what is the reason for Tesla to be so successful? It's nothing new. It's not like electric cars didn't exist.
But the service is good.
But it's the product, it's the design, it's how it's presented, it's in marketing, it's in technology. So, Elon Musk took an electric car and made it better. Made it sustainable, made it go for longer miles and things like that. So it's not about recreating a whole new idea. You could also take something that exists and make it better.
iPhone is something.
Another example.
iPhone is actually not designed by iPhone. You know what? iPhone actual design was made by Nokia, and it was sitting in a shelf in product design architect, and they kept it as a drawing. And iPhone actually bought the design from Nokia.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
iPhone, Steve Jobs actually bought the design from Nokia, and they said, oh, we don't need this. We are selling 30 to 10 or whatever, snakes and ladders game or whatever. This design, you can have it. iPhone actually bought from Nokia.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
But it goes to say, if that Italian company had landfilled the product, then I wouldn't have sold it. And that was my first of many deals to come.
So you were the iPhone and Italian company was the Nokia. You can say that.
But I think they saw sense in my idea and they supported me. They supported a new company with no proven track record. And, it is always in a startup, once you crack the first deal, then you have something to show for yourself. Then the journey becomes easier.
Yeah.
For the timing to scale the business.
Did you do MVP, what is called minimum viable product? Did you go to, you've done MBA, so you understand what MVP is. Did you go and speak to your consumers in India, what they need? And
yes.
You did that.
So in those 10 months when I'm saying that I was doing my research, I spoke to a lot of consumers to find out their needs, what they could be interested in. So basically, you can say I started my business where I already had demand.
Tip number 2, MVP. Get a disruptive product, tip number 1. Tip number 2, get your MVP done.
So I already had a list of demands. Now it was a case of going and finding them and, making sure it was at the right price, delivered correctly. And that is what I still do today.
So you spoke to those consumers, what exactly they need, and blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
And what will they do with it?
Mm.
So my business, which is my flagship company, which is PG Paper Company Limited, today works in 60 countries.
Wow.
We have offices in over 8 countries.
Wow.
And we have physical presence where we have overseas employees in 15 countries and expanding.
Wow. That's PG Papers Limited.
Yeah.
You have other business interests?
Yes. So as an entrepreneur, I told you I'm very keen learner. You know, you can understand by reading or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got good team behind me. Now I'm not working by myself the way I used to when in the first 2 years of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious by nature and I need to know everything about everything in what's happening in the world industries. I have other businesses beside PG. So we have
Like?
we have Envisage Dental. We have dental surgeries in Scotland. We have property in 4 countries. We have done projects in properties with our partners. I have investments in over 32 companies. I mentor a lot of companies as well, both local and international. That's my passion because I feel that mentorship in business is important. It really helps, especially the newcomers, to get on their success path faster, or because, you know, they get to learn from somebody experienced who's done it
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So I feel life
You
is
need guidance.
you need guidance, and
Yeah.
I feel it's very easy for somebody.
People think mentorship, if you create a mentor or if you respect somebody as a mentor, it's not for 1 hour or 2 hour or 1 day or 2 day. Mentor should be for life.
I had some very good mentorship along my journey as well, although some of them have sadly passed away very early in my journey. But those people really motivated me. Like, you know, if I said,
If you get stuck in something, they can advise you, do this, do that.
even if it wasn't advice all the time, but it was sometimes that push you need. So we were at one point the largest exporters of waste paper from Scotland.
Okay.
And that happened because there was a company I was working with in Stirling. And I remember I used to go to their yard all the time. And I used to find it very fascinating that such a successful man, you know, would show me around his yard, will what we call is get his hands dirty, teaching me what every type of waste paper he was doing was. I learned it from him. And, you know, and then he used to say, take me around his yard, which would have thousands of tons in inventory there. And he would say to me, if there's anybody who can do it, it's you. Go sell. And, you know, that confidence in me that he thinks I can do it, he used to say to me, I can see myself in you and you can do this. So, you know, I would never come to a meeting with him having sold less than, say, $1 million worth of products, you know, because I always wanted him to be proud of me and telling me I've done a good job. So that kind of motivation, that kind of mentorship is also, I think, very important. Because, see, I am the first woman who came out working from my family, my Indian family, my parental family. Although my mother-in-law here is a doctor, my father-in-law in his time was one of the most well-known ophthalmologists, still highly respected in the community, did a lot of social work. But, you know, I'm the first business person. So it was not easy for even them to understand. What is she doing? So for first few years, nobody knew what I was doing.
I was in Coast Guard. And I decided to start my business in the car park while smoking a cigarette. I threw my cigarette and I said, that's it. I'll start my business. And that night, my mom called me and said, what the hell have you done? You had a good job. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, so I've gone through that journey where I used to get told, why do you need to do this?
Yeah.
You know, you don't need this. And for me, it was never about money. For me, it was about making something of myself and proving that.
And you proved yourself.
And proving that, you know, a gender is not enough to hold somebody back.
You had some health problems. I think we briefly spoke about this. in the breakfast there.
Yeah.
You were in wheelchair.
Yes. So
What happened? Tell
yeah.
us about that.
So it was back in 2006-7. So I then have my older one was 1 year old at that time, and suddenly I had some issue with my foot, and I got misdiagnosed. I didn't pay attention initially because it's often with women, especially. That's why we call it man flu, because if a man even has a cold, he's like that. It is a joke between women that it feels like the whole world's come crashing down, whereas a woman tends to show more endurance and resilience. It's true.
No,
It's true.
no.
I am.
No,
It's true.
it's other way around actually.
No, it's not true. So for a year,
my wife, if she has a headache, she goes down to the lines of cancer and everything.
No, I'm not that woman. So I had. I didn't pay any attention initially, and then I could barely walk. I had trouble walking. I was put into a cast in my foot first initially.
So just normal leg pain.
I thought it was just I twisted my ankle or something, but it wasn't that.
Okay.
And then I got misdiagnosed with basically a disease which it was a syndrome I got misdiagnosed with, which could apparently kill me at any time. An autoimmune disorder I was misdiagnosed with. And my daughter was 1 year old at the time. But I think having lost my mother, I had this will to live for her. I wanted to be there for her. I wanted to see her grow up. And then luckily for me, I went back to India actually back in 2006 with the mindset, and took my daughter with me with the mindset that, I was going to die very soon, so it might end up being the last trip to India.
See? Going to cancer.
No, but I was serious. I was in the wheelchair by that time.
Okay, sorry.
And I was in the wheelchair by that time, and I went to India in a wheelchair actually with my 1 year old.
Yeah?
Yes. So, and all by myself. But then when I came back, finally I got diagnosed correctly and my medication was started immediately. I was already pregnant with my second child, which I hadn't told anybody about because I was quite ill. So I didn't know if both of us were going to make it.
This was a span of 1 year.
Over 1 year, almost you can say.
So you were out
1.5
of
years.
business.
No, I was never out of business.
You're still working?
My foot was not working. My brain was still working.
You're still working?
I was working. I parked myself on a sofa in one of the rooms. My daughter used to play and I used to be carrying those crutches. I used to walk around with crutches in a cast. And but I think it was my daughter and my business which gave me a purpose.
People only see success. They don't see the hard work behind it. Now you telling me all this hard work which goes handling the kids in the wheelchair, in the crutches, still doing business. Who's seen all that? Now people will realize what you've gone through.
See, I was for many years.
I hope I don't bring you in tears or something.
No. I'm not in tears. That phase is gone.
But people only see Rolls Royce. People see only Rolls Royce. Where have you seen the hard work behind the scene?
Yeah, true. And I'm sure that a lot of entrepreneurs, even I know, have very tough stories to tell. Having a 1 year old at that time and having my business, which I had started, my business at that time was only 3 years old. So my business was young as well. I think it gave me a purpose to look past my illness or my disability, as I may call it. And I was just I don't think I fully kind of understood what was going on with me, which was blessing in disguise, because it kept me going. I was always working. And at that time I had a secretary. And she was so lovely to me. So she knew that, she would bring things to me if I needed papers printed. So the office was, say, a couple of rooms away. And it was a huge effort to walk across constantly. So she would bring the papers to me. I was still taking all the phone calls. And actually, at that time, we were turning over, if I remember correctly, about 10 million pounds at that time. And during my illness and coming at the other end and having given birth to my next child during my illness, our turnover didn't suffer. We still were at 10 million the year after. And then once I was well, I had this realization, life is too short. Anything can happen. So I thought, I made a promise to myself that while I'm here, I'll give it my best shot. And that's what I'm still doing.
This is what inspires. This is what inspiring journey means. Well done.
Thank you.
What's for future?
So I have scaled up my business and I have a wonderful team now behind me. And we have a next 5-year plan. And we are...
Anything new? Exciting?
There is always something new in my life.
Anything
But I
like-
only talk about it when it has happened.
Okay.
I am always working on new projects.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm very curious. I have to find new challenges, otherwise I'll get bored.
I'll tell you some of the new challenges after we finish the podcast.
Yeah, and so I learn about new industries. I was just since few months I've been working on renewable energy, something I'm again very passionate about. The whole thing I did in paper is actually quite, it is a business model which can be replicated in various industries. So I'm also working on that. I do a lot of community work too. I was just at Strathclyde Business School, part of a panel which I really thoroughly enjoyed on women entrepreneurship.
Okay.
I would love to see more women entrepreneurs and leaders out there.
Okay.
I feel that so that the next generation doesn't have to struggle the same way, I struggled or my previous generations struggled. There is an acknowledgement that we need more women leaders out
some
there.
kind of mentorship
We need to
programs.
normalize female entrepreneurship.
Okay.
We need to, I remember a long time ago, I met apparently one of
I personally feel females are better workers than male.
sincere, you can say. We are better and more sincere.
Yes.
Believe it or not, most of my managers are all women. And it is not that, we have done it
Men are
because
good,
of
but
that.
Women are sincere.
There is a recent study which says there's nothing called multitasking. I beg to differ. I think you can call it multitasking, or you can say dealing with multiple things at the same time. And I often see women are very good with that. I remember when my children were younger, the phone, and some of my staff at that time
I can
witness
imagine.
to
I
that.
can
Phone stuck
totally
to
agree.
my shoulder, my daughter in my hand, my
totally
fingers
agree.
on my laptop. That was
totally
normal.
agree with you. I can totally agree with
Yeah.
you. I can totally agree with you. I have seen my wife do that.
Yeah.
Job, kids, husband. Husband is another work of job.
Yes, true. Very true.
Yeah.
And my in-laws, we live together. So I like living in joint family. So so it's interesting. I like big family. I like a lot of people around me.
Yeah. So, tip number 1, get a disruptive idea or service. Tip number 2, get a MVP done, minimum viable product. What's the third tip? Do you market straight away, or marketing should be last?
See, in the beginning, I didn't market so much.
Yes.
I was so
Tip
busy.
number 3, do not market straight away. Wait till you've tested the product, done everything, then market the product. Correct?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, you can say, in the beginning, I was so busy buying and selling constantly. There was no time. I think we've actually, in a very organized way, started doing marketing, proper marketing, I'd say, in last 10, 12 years. Before that, we used to attend exhibitions. We would go out and meet our customers. We always had a website because we were 100%, when I started the business, we were 100% export-oriented unit. Now we are still 95% exports. So visibility was very important on a global scale, which comes through your website. But I'd say active marketing, we've only started doing properly in last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, because you need to test the product.
You need to have presence.
You need to test the product, make sure that everybody's happy with it. Because what if I launch a phone and it's a stupid phone? What's going to happen? If I sell the stupid phone to you, you're going to talk to other people and say, this is a stupid phone. So there's no point of marketing it right in the beginning. You should do marketing right at the end when you have tested and you've done the MVP and whatnot. So marketing should be the last thing. Lots of people do this mistake when they launch their business. They do the marketing right up front. They're actually making things worse for them. Is that right?
Then you need to have a product which is ready for marketing before you start screaming and shouting about it. But I would also like to say, in today's world where there are so many social media platforms, it's actually it's much easier than it used to be previously to take the product to the consumer. Just the product has to be good. It needs to do what you say it's doing. So one of the things I say in my business and all businesses is that never overpromise and under-deliver.
Okay.
You under-promise and over-deliver, which gives you credibility in the market, but never make promises that you can't keep.
Can you repeat that again?
Never overpromise and under-deliver.
There you go, guys. Tip number 4.
Yeah. And then another thing is entrepreneurship is not a part-time job. If you got to be committed to your purpose, to your goal.
24/7.
It used to be 24/7, but it's not so much anymore. 24/7 for me. If I make it 24/7 for me, then it's 24/7 for me. But as the CEO of the company, at the end of the day, the responsibility lands with me. If something goes wrong in the business, outside, inside, anywhere, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. So one thing that I always have is being available for my people. As much as you're seeing my phone ringing constantly, it's buzzing in my bag. The first thing I'll do is when I leave here, I'll be calling everybody and finding out what do they need me for.
Okay, tell me how you juggle your life with family and business. Obviously, being a CEO, you have to spend a lot of time dedicated to the business. But then you have kids and kids' activities and tantrums of husband and all sort of things you have to do. How do you manage all this? How do you do this?
So now my girls are grown. They're older. It's easier now.
You got 2 daughters?
I've got 2 daughters.
Okay. How old are
18
they?
and 16, soon to be 19 and 17.
19 and 17. They're grown up.
Yeah, so it's much easier now. They're very independent. My older one is at university. The younger one will go to university
still, you
next
need to
year.
take care of them.
But my children have always seen me working, and I say generally I'm very blessed with my kids. They've always seen my children came after my business. So my children don't know a stay-at-home mother.
Okay.
They know a mother.
They have always seen you working.
But I think for me, what was important always was to spend quality time with them. So I'll tell you this story. My older one, she attended her first boardroom meeting with me when she was only 7 days old.
So 7-day-old, and you were carrying
her to my meeting with one of the big manufacturers of paper. And the joke, and I still work with them. They are still one of my major suppliers. And the joke is, they say she's the only child who has...
You're a bit like that New Zealand Prime Minister. Who was that New Zealand Prime Minister? Jacinda? Jacinda. She went to the parliament with her kids and a kid on her hand.
And I think that's a great example, because that normalizes the fact that a woman is also a mother, but she's also working. So my daughter, she attended her first boardroom meeting with me when she was 7 days old, and the mill has still a joke to say she was the only child who ever got changed in that boardroom. Before she was 1 year old, she had taken over 17 business trips with me around the world. And when I say around the world, she had visited many countries in Europe. I used to go to Holland and Belgium regularly at that time, and every visit she would be with me. She'd been to Thailand multiple times, India multiple times. She went to Dubai with me, China with me, and that whole story continued till she started her school. So before she started her school, she used to travel with me everywhere in the world.
Hats off to you. Hats off to you.
And actually, even now, when they are off school or they are available, they still travel with me. So I have a lot of work in Japan. I go to Japan regularly. And my children have now accompanied me to Japan on business meetings in my business trips more than 3 or 4 times. Recently I was in Dubai. The older one joined me. And it's not just about having fun. She actually sits in the meetings with me because I feel like this is the way she's learning beyond her university degree.
I was in Japan in 1998, and I had to go from Hachinoi to Tokyo to get my UK visa to the embassy. And in Japan, everything is written in Japanese. There's no English there. So I had to take a train from Hachinoi to Tokyo. And I can't read Tokyo signs and so. Those days, 1998, you don't have translation or anything. And I got this local guy. He wrote me 5 things on a piece of paper. Where is the station for Tokyo? Which platform should I go? All translated, like couple of things. How should I go left? How should I go right? 5, 6, 7 things written on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I reached the station, and Tokyo station has like 5 different levels of subways. Not one level. So one train goes that way, one train goes that way, one train goes that way, one train goes that way. And I was like holding this piece of paper. I didn't know where to go. And I was like pointing this guy. Can you explain me this? Can you explain that? Even the ticket machines are in Japanese, right? And you have like trains going that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Oh my God. It's mind-blowing.
It's an incredible country, Japan.
Yeah, mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's an
Absolutely
incredible
mind-blowing. Eventually, I reached Tokyo.
Good. You made it.
So, you like Rolls-Royce. What's the next car?
I don't know what the next car is. It depends. But it's not just about, like, I quite like engineering, technology.
Okay.
So I like anything to do with, right now I'm learning, how to use AI better, for example.
Okay.
So it's like, for me,
We've
for
just
me,
launched
when
an
I
AI
go
company,
to,
by the way. We've just launched an AI company.
okay, congratulations. So when I go to a manufacturer, somebody might be making cars, somebody might be making planes, somebody might be making paper. I am just fascinated by the machinery, the engineering that's gone into it, and how they came about this idea of making something, the scale of things. All of that fascinates me. It was one of my dreams to own a Rolls-Royce one day, and that's why I have one.
It suits you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It suits you. Okay, Cam, I think we are done here. So I'm going to do a closure now. Okay. You can edit this bit. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Rollover Show. I hope this inspires lots of viewers who are starting up from single laptop, mother of 2, on a wheelchair, handling the kids, handling the husband, and still making 10 million turnover. This is what inspires from Poonam Gupta. Well done. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here.
Thank you so much for having me.
There's a small little gift for us from us. I hope you like it. There you go.
Thank you very much.